Coming up on All About Android, it's me, Jason Howell, Ron Richards, Florence Ion, and our guest, Ben Schoen from 9 to 5 Google. It is Consumer Electronics Show 2021 week, all digital. So we've got a whole lot to talk about. Samsung, Motorola, TCL, LG, Fossil, Kyocera, and the Satisfyer app. What is that, you say? Well, you're going to have to watch to find out. All About Android is next.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hello and welcome to All About Android, episode 507, recorded on Tuesday, January 12th, 2021. Your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards.
And I'm Florence Ion. Hi, guys.
Hello. Boy, we got some ghosts in the system. Technologically speaking, the pre-show. Sometimes you want to tune into the pre-show because we have lots of fun and we make jokes and we have side conversations, everything. Today, it would have been a half an hour of kind of hell, troubleshooting all the many issues. But I think we have it all dialed in. So let's hope this doesn't cascade into the show itself because it's CES week. Woo! It's digital CES week. Ooh, yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to find some excitement for CES this year. It's kind of hard to do. But I know our guest is super pumped. It's Ben Schoen from 9 to 5 Google. Welcome to the show, Ben.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, anytime. Anytime we can bring you on for CES, but also the super exciting digital version of CES, which I realize I'm overhyping it. But how do you feel about it? You've been to the in-person CES before. How is it going this year, comparatively speaking?
Yeah, it just doesn't make the same impact now. Everything feels less exciting, and yeah. I mean, it's all the same information, but it's just not as exciting.
Yeah,
it's really, really hard to replicate that feeling of landing in a new city and going to the hotel and seeing people with their badges on, and then getting closer to the convention center and seeing those signs, and then getting into the convention center and feeling overwhelmed. Like, you can't, as I know they're doing it virtually because they have to because of the world we live in right now, but you cannot replicate that, and it's so frustrating. Mm-hmm. So I feel for you, Ben.
Yeah, no, because I mean, even for me, I always take some time to just walk the floor and search around and see if I can find something I've never heard of, and I can't do that. That's what I miss.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit on the show, and kind of made the guess, like, is this just the way these conferences are going to be going forward? And, there's certainly people out there that are like, well, it's hard to put the genie back into the bottle. Certain companies are going to feel like it's too much money wasted, let's say, to go to a big convention when you can just make your announcements online and everything like that. But there's just something about that in-person experience, not just from the point of view of like, oh, when you see a product in person and it's a wowie kind of product, like it makes a deeper impact, but just the communication, the person-to-person, whether it's someone in the industry, which is definitely a big part of what I have enjoyed about CES, but also just talking with the people who are passionate about their products, as opposed to just seeing this like list of products on a screen. Everything just kind of feels like a press release, and I don't know, it's kind of a snooze fest. So
there is no dog and pony show. There's no dogs to show off. There's no
ponies.
Well, it's just so tough because you can't, I mean, like, so much of CES is that hands-on experience, right? And like feeling the tactile, kind of holding the phone or seeing that 190-inch TV or like all that sort of stuff. And so I don't know, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that there will be a return to the spectacle that we once knew and loved. But I do agree with you, Jason. I think it might be a while. And hopefully we're still around for it.
Yeah. We'll certainly find out. All right. Well, so this is an episode dedicated to the things that are Android-y happening at CES 2021. So, it's all hardware. So why don't we start things off right away with hardware? kind of.
I was going to say, before we get into it, after the past couple of weeks of it being devoid of any stuff to talk about, I'm kind of glad we've got virtual CES.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. At least we have some like slate of news. And also I should also point out, I'm guessing a good 85-90% of the rundown today was written by you, Ben, at 9 to 5 Google. Because you're covering this stuff pretty closely. So we appreciate A, getting you on, and B, that you wrote so much about it so that we can throw some eyeballs your way. But Flo, why don't you start with the first story?
Well, this one's really fun. So if you are looking for something to do Thursday morning, you can join me and Jason. We're going to be here covering the Samsung event bright and early on the West Coast. East Coast time is a little more of the usual variety. 9 a.m., right? No, 10 a.m. on the East Coast, 7 a.m. on the West Coast. There's a Samsung Unpacked event. This Thursday, we're going to be seeing the unveiling of the Galaxy S21, the Galaxy S21 Plus, and the much rumored Galaxy S21 Ultra with the S Pen support. This is the device that's supposed to completely kick the note out, just coming sliding right in to help satiate those folks who want an S Pen. Now, the Galaxy S21 packaging is leaking around town, and so just goes to show, even with a virtual CES, there's still plenty of leaks. This time, they're showing off a slim box, which is kind of confirming what we knew about the lack of headphones and charger. So, something to think about if you are gunning for a new Galaxy S21. Samsung has already, in an effort to sort of really push through this ecological narrative, they're announcing the Galaxy Upcycling at Home. So there will be optional software updates for older Galaxy devices to kind of help keep those engines running. You can also repurpose the device for either a baby monitor, a home security camera protected by Knox, or a light detector for automatically turning on smart lights via SmartThings. Now, I love this idea, and I'm super looking forward to trying this out. I have some old GS8s and GS7s laying around here, and I really want to try this out because I feel like this is kind of a genius way to get people to stay in your ecosystem and also have a way to say, look, we're giving people a reason to keep using our devices past the lifetime. I mean, I feel like this is a little more exciting than maybe some of the new device news coming out. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm interested in, it's like I want more than these three. Like, it's a great start, I suppose, because when I think of old devices, I've thought about this myself as well, trying to figure out, like, how can I actually make this old device usable? And I can come up with a lot of ideas, but then when it comes to executing on that, like the details kind of come into play. It's like, oh, but then if I'm going to like set this up as like a security camera, that means I need to like run a power brick to this phone and, mount it all kind of wacky like on the wall or whatever. It's like the details kind of come in and shatter my dream of what it could possibly be. But I totally respect Samsung for kind of making it official, so it's not something that has to be like a hack job that someone figures out. It's kind of like flash this system update and our phone will do these things for you, and suddenly it's usable instead of just being junk in your drawer.
Well, a regular person is not going to go through with that and try and fuss with it. If Samsung is doing something that's like literally onboarding it for you and saying like set this and this and this up, I mean, that is the key right there.
Yeah. Ben, what do you think about the packaging aspect of things? The fact that, it seems anyways, like the slim box is more confirmation that there won't be a power brick. There won't be the headphones. I always really liked the headphones that shipped with Samsung products. I always thought they were really good inbox headphones as far as those types of headphones are concerned. But how do you feel about the move to remove these things from packaging? And it seems like a trend that's beginning.
Yeah, and I agree with you on the earbuds, but as far as removing the charger goes, I think it is in the long term a better thing to do. I just hope that Samsung does not go Apple's route and just says, hey, if you do need a charger, here's a code to get one from the website or something like that. Because some people are still going to need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I mean, honestly, same goes with earbuds, but I doubt they'll do that.
Right.
Yeah, in the long term, it's definitely a good thing. It's just it's gonna sting for a few people for now, kind of like the headphone jack.
Mm-hmm. Although some of us can't ever let that go.
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like there always needs to be something that's gonna sting for a while, right? Like that's been the trend the past couple of years. Is like we're gonna take one thing away to remind you that we control you, and that's gonna sting. So sorry about that.
It's gonna sting. Another thing that I saw today that I forgot to put in the rundown. So Burke, I've just added it. It's in that little Samsung section. Is a link to a sammobile.com article that seems to show. So what we know or what we've heard about the S21 Ultra is that it's going to have the S Pen support, and as a result, the Note series is going to go away. From what we've heard, anyways, no more Note. Instead, the S20, or the S Series Ultra variant is going to have S Pen support. But this article, like I put it in there because there's a leak on a case design that kind of shows that the S Pen, instead of embedding itself inside of the device, it's going to be embedded into the case. And I'm not sure that I saw that coming, though I didn't really think about it too hard. Like, where would the S Pen go? Do you think Note fans are going to feel like that's a little tacked on, or be happy with that? And just in general, do you think Note fans are going to feel okay with whatever the differences might be between an S series phone with S Pen support and a true Note with S Pen support?
I don't know, that case render is giving me real strong Trio vibes. Right?
Okay.
Do you remember the little pen the stylus that used to go down into the Trio?
But that was still inside the Trio.
True, it wasn't a case.
In a case.
Yeah. I mean, it probably doesn't matter that much unless you really want to use your device without a case. And here, your only option is to have the case, and that's where the S Pen embeds itself. I think what it does, what I realize as I'm looking at it, is it really makes the S Pen, which used to be like a key feature of the Note series, like this is the reason that you get a Note. It now totally feels like an additional accessory that's kind of playing second fiddle to something. And I don't know what that something is, because that used to be the differentiator. So I just wonder how Note fans are gonna feel about the loss of the Note, and if there's going to be any functionality differences between these two. I don't know that we've heard about that particular aspect of things, whether there's going to be functionality differences between what the S Pen can do on the Ultra versus the Note series. But I suppose we won't have to wait for it. Yeah,
that's a good question, because they probably won't be able to charge it as easily if it's in a case.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so the Bluetooth functionality might be gone. I will say one thing I do like about it is that because it's not embedded in the phone, the pen can be a little bit bigger, which might make it more comfortable to use.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. That's actually a really good point. Because I've kind of, I guess I've adapted to the fact that the S Pen is the size that it is, but it's definitely not large enough for my hands. It always feels like a little twig. And so yeah, maybe that does
like a little twig. That's a great comparison.
Yeah. So maybe that will allow for a larger S Pen. Well, we don't have to wait very long to see. Again, live coverage, twit.tv/live this Thursday starting at 7 a.m. Pacific, Flo and me. So you can check that out. Right on.
I'm going to miss it. I'm bummed I couldn't join, but I'm also bummed I missed out on Motorola's new debuts. I feel like last week we were talking about whether or not the companies will stick to the calendar that we've grown used to. And I feel like Motorola, even though it is CES week, is out of the gate sharing their Moto G devices. I feel like earlier than they usually do. I don't know if this always happened in January. But Motorola unveiled 4 new devices from the G line. The Moto G Stylus, which is $299. And it's this is the phone with a dumb stylus. And it's running a Snapdragon 678, 4 gig of RAM, 12 gigabyte storage, no 5G support. The Moto G Power, which is for sale for $199, it's got a 5,000 milliamp battery, running a Snapdragon 662, 3 or 4 gigabyte RAM, and 32 or 64 gigabyte of storage. So that one packs a punch if you need a long battery life. The Moto G Play, $169, which is actually the most affordable of all this bunch, running a Snapdragon 460 with 3 gig of RAM and 32 gig of storage. And then the new one that I think is fascinating, the Moto One 5G Ace. That's a dynamic title. It's the Ace. Yeah. You can get that for $399, and it's basically Motorola's Pixel 4a. It's running a Snapdragon 750G with 4 or 6 gig of RAM and 64 or 128 gig of storage, and no promises on future updates along with that. So, I mean, I can give Motorola credit. They continue to cultivate and grow the mid to low range of phones, and so if you're in a situation where you have a teenager and you just need to give them a phone that works, that Moto G Play works really well. If you want a low price phone with a hefty battery, that power works really great. And then stepping up to the OnePlus Nord or the Pixel 4a kind of realm with a $400 phone to give a little more bang for the buck, but not a flagship. I don't know. I always like what Motorola does with these phones, and I'm impressed despite not being able to hold them myself. Ben, what do you think of this lineup for 2021 for the affordable phones from Motorola?
I'm not impressed. The Stylus and the Power are probably going to be fine budget phones. I liked the ones last year enough, but I don't know. It's getting hard to say, hey, go buy a Moto G when the Pixel 4a exists for $350 and gives you 3 years of updates, where these are getting Android 11, and that's probably it.
Yeah,
and
it's fun. It's funny.
Sorry.
It's funny you mentioned that, actually, because I ran into this recently where I was working with someone who had I forget how far back, but it was within 3 years, like a 2017 Motorola G phone, and they're trying to use an app that required them to be on Android 10 or higher, and just Motorola has you can't upgrade the phone at all through, he never got the update from his carrier. Ultimately ended up getting a Pixel 4a to replace it. Like, it was just a dead phone. It was outdated. It was stuck at Android 8. So that's, I guess, buyer beware.
Well, and also, at least if you buy a Pixel, you're getting a quality phone. I mean, photos it takes, it's great. I've never had a good experience with a Motorola phone as a replacement for what I truly wanted, if that makes sense. I always feel like I had to make some concessions because that's where they were putting their niche. And I'm very curious to see how they're going to outlast this new influx of, economical devices that are coming through, because we're seeing that you can get quality for a lot lower than you used to be able to. So how are you going to compete with that, putting out $300 phones that act like $150 phones, so to speak?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this one 5G Ace, and you're right. Like, the direct comparison is to the 4A or the Nord. But, I mean, for me, the camera capabilities had better be really great, which I'm not necessarily sure that Motorola devices ever really have an amazing camera system, built into them.
I don't think especially in the G level, I don't think they have an amazing camera system, but they've done a really good job of keeping the phones as close to stock as possible with some minor, kind of their own little Motorola touches and tweaks to it. And the thing is that really, I mean, if you have someone who's looking in shopping for a new phone, if you have someone who's, fresh to the line, maybe they choose the Pixel 4a over this. But if you have someone who's gone from Motorola phone to Motorola phone to Motorola phone through Verizon or whatever, they're just going to roll to the next one, and maybe not even consider jumping to a different brand, right? It all has to do with that audience loyalty aspect of it. So,
yeah, that is very true. All right, so Motorola's got their family of devices, and up next we're going to talk a little bit about rollables, of course. Also some TVs. Kind of surprised to talk about some TVs, and yes, some phones. All right, so Ron, why don't you start us off with LG?
I do love the rollables. I'm on board the rollable train. So we've already talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but LG is continuing with their Explorer project with the LG Rollable. LG has confirmed this will go on sale in 2021. So this is the year. This is the year of the rollable, everybody. And this might make it the first rollable to market outside of concepts like the TCL Rollable. And I don't know. I'm excited. Ben, are you on the rollable train, or do you think it's a gimmick, or do you think it's actually potentially the future of these device interfaces?
I mean, I love foldables. I'm a Galaxy Z Fold owner, but rollables look interesting. I definitely want to give this a shot because I think it might be a better solution for some people because it has the potential to be more durable. But it has the potential, but I'm not sure. I don't know how much I see being useful from LG's concepts. I know we'll get to the TCL one that extends vertically, but I think that's a better idea.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting to see how they're adapting the rollable concept, and to your point, which way it goes, and in terms of this one, it's going, kind of, for the bigger kind of almost tablet-esque, and then it pulls in to a slimmer kind of phone thing. The controlled roll is what I find interesting because so much with the foldable was the fact that people were trying to break it, but like with the controlled roll, it is a contained kind of system that really, to your point, I think will end up being more durable and give you more screen real estate for different use cases, like reading or video games or things like that versus using the phone for messaging or that sort of thing. So I think I love the rollable stuff, and I want to see more of it.
Yeah, and props to LG for going down this road with its Explorer program and actually creating devices that it's putting out there that that it's like, yeah, this is weird. Like the Wing, that was really weird. I remember the first time I saw the video of the Wing in action, I totally thought it was a fake. I was like, there's no way this is an actual phone. Then it turned out, oh yeah, it's part of the Explorer program. And by the way, you're going to be able to buy it here in like a couple of weeks or whatever the turnaround was. So LG's committed, and I give them full credit for being committed to their Explorer program and not just putting out concepts, even though they really are. It's almost like their market, they're doing live market research on these concepts, putting them out to see how people respond to it. But total props to LG for being so committed to the Explorer project, because they are actually putting out their devices that are very different and very interesting. And I don't know how necessary it is, but it's neat.
Well, I feel like it's a really good distraction from everything going on too. And it's a good way to kind of buy some time till you figure out the next big flagship and what the next big whopper is going to attempt to be. If there is if there even is one, maybe LG will decide to just become sort of a niche Android phone maker, which I would be fine with, because then at least I know what to expect.
Do you think we're going to see an LG Wing 2? Like, do you think they're going to continue down that road, or be like, yeah, we tried that. This is what the research led us to. It led us to the rollable.
I wonder if it will replace the V series as sort of the creator phone. Like, it'll have, because it has like the whole gimbal mode, and they did a lot of very video-centric software tweaks to it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they went down that niche and just decided to do kind of what like sorry for the comparisons, LG, but to kind of do what Samsung is doing with the Note, I think that even though we're having this virtual CES, there's actually a lot of these really small little hints that we have that the companies are really trying to do something a little different. And that gives me some hope for when we come out of this. There's going to be some very interesting devices that will be sort of ruling the helm in the sort of sense, like
directing the design. Yeah, going forward the next couple of years.
I just feel like it's going to be a different phone market once everybody's vaccinated.
Yeah.
We will certainly find out. So what else is LG up to, Flo?
Well, LG is going all in on the TV, which makes sense. This is something that they're very good at. So they dropped some TV news during this virtual CES. They are adding Stadia support to their web OS platform, which is effectively what runs on their TVs. Now, the 2021 and 2020 TVs running WebOS 6.0 and WebOS 5.0 will support Google Stadia. So essentially, this is going to turn the TVs into a set-top box, a built-in game console. You go and you buy not only your screen, but you're also buying something to play with. It's included in the price. This service will be available on those sets later this year in a native app. LG also announced that Nvidia's Geforce Now will work on these sets by the end of the year as well. So there will be two sort of cloud gaming platforms that you can tap into. And I think, why didn't any of us think of this happening? I mean, this is such an obvious way to take this. And I wonder if it'll actually help Stadia find any sort of like proliferation just by immediately having it included. I mean, what do you guys think?
Well, Ben, I think that's a question that I'm curious to know your take on it. Do you know, because I don't know, I'm unaware if you've spent a lot of time with Stadia. I feel like maybe you have, but what are your thoughts? And what do you think what do you think it needs? Like, do you think this is good for the platform?
I think it's great because the whole vision behind Stadia and cloud gaming in general is just, I don't have to own a console. I don't have to own a set top. I can literally just pick up the device I own and play games. And this is the biggest way to fulfill that vision. Because right now if you want to play Stadia on your TV, you need a Chromecast Ultra. And then in a couple months, the Chromecast with Google TV. But if they just say, they get with LG, they get with Samsung, they get with whoever's making smart, it would be amazing if they did Roku. But if it's just on your TV already, a game maker can say, hey, here's our new game. It's on Stadia. You don't own anything? Okay, just open up the app on your TV. It's incredible. Yep. That's the future.
Browse for a game and go.
And it will open the avenue for other people who would have never, who maybe don't want to bring in some gigantic PS5 into their house or try and like deal with that, trying to just find a console right now. A person who's maybe interested in playing, maybe somebody who's like, God, I would love to see what Assassin's Creed is all about, but I don't want to invest in this whole like system. So you could just pop into Stadia and spend $50 and have your experience.
If Google would include with sales of these TVs a rebate that would include a controller, that would be huge, right? Because then people have literally everything. Because people would still have
no excuse.
You'd kind of have no excuse. Of course, you'd redeem that for the free controller. It's almost like giving away the razors and having people buy the blades. It's kind of similar thing. I don't know if they'll do that. I'm not saying that's part of the news, but that would be a great way to increase the usership of the Stadia service.
Yep.
So who knows? Well, LG is not alone. I know Sony also has the Google TV interface. TCL, go away Google. TCL is also adopting the Google TV interface on its 2021 models, starting here in the U.S. expected to hit their TVs first in the US. Release dates are unknown, but I think it's interesting that we're seeing more and more of these TVs at CES getting the new Google TV interface. And I don't know. I think that's a positive thing, because I actually really like the Google TV interface compared to the Android TV interface of days gone by.
Which is why I tossed out the Mi Box. It's officially in the toy box for Mona to play with.
Excellent.
So
it's a toy. It's for her play.
It's officially
TV
a
set.
toy. It's just for her to suck on, because that's where it goes when I'm done with it. It goes into the toy bin. And so the Chromecast of Google TV has been installed.
Excellent.
What happens?
Yeah.
When you fail me.
That's what you get, Mi Box. That's what you get. You get a little baby playing with you roughly like a toy.
By the way, you triggered my smart speaker over here, just FYI.
Yeah, I triggered my phone somewhere. I know I didn't say OKG, but that doesn't seem to stop it.
Well, apparently you said something close to it that it triggered me over here too. So
sorry about that. TCL actually had a lot of news, it seemed like, and I think I only put a couple of the news bites in here. Of course, the TV news that I just mentioned, we mentioned briefly earlier, Ben. I think you mentioned the rollable tablet concept, and this is actually really interesting because it's not just rollable; it's like a scroll. So literally, and I feel like this has been a topic of conversation on this show before, where we would finally get to the point to where it's like a pulling out scroll, and that's exactly what it is. Burke, if you scroll down on the page, you will get to an animated GIF of the scroll in action below that. So that's it pulling, and then scroll down below that even, and you will find this.
It doesn't even look like. It doesn't look weird.
It's nuts.
Versus
nuts.
like
Awesome.
the older early prototypes that we had like in the early 2010s were very just sort of they
wacky.
looked like they were really just they were very unvarnished. They were very rough, right? And this looks nice. It looks approachable. It looks fluid,
approachable, like it's a person. But the mechanism itself that behind it looks a little chunky, doesn't it?
A little chunky.
The display itself looks much more approachable, I think. But yes, I agree with you. It's chunky compared to what we're dealing with now.
It does look like an old timey scroll. Like back in the Shakespearean times or whatever, where they expand that and then the thing comes out of it. And so I kind of like that historical relevance that it might have. This is glorious. This is the age of the rollable is I'm just all in on it. I couldn't be more excited.
And Ben, TCL's been really active with a lot of their different reference designs and everything. So I know that they're active in showing everybody, hey, this is what we're working on. Check out all these different unique things that we're doing. But I'm having a hard time pointing to anything that's like, and this is what it led to. To your knowledge, are they coming out with phones like the phones that they announced at CES are very much not this, right? They're very much like, I had to fight to try and find anything unique about them. They're pretty basic. Are they actually ever going to release these devices, to your knowledge?
I think they've said in the past that right now it's just proof of concept. We're capable of this, but it's going to be a while. They're definitely not ready yet. But it's interesting to see where they're going with it, and I hope like the one that we're showing on screen, the one that scrolls that spans upward, I think is a genius idea. It's you have the Galaxy Z Flip, which gets smaller by folding, but that seems way more practical. Just rolling the screen up to get more screen. So I hope that one comes to market, but I don't think they have officially said anything about bringing any of these rollables, foldables, whatever to market.
Yeah. They're capable of prototyping these things, and not just here's a digital render. They're capable of coming up with these unique ideas in actual hardware. that can demonstrate their technology. I'm just waiting for TCL to then go, and here it is. You've been waiting. Check it out. You can finally have the scrollable that we've been showing off. Maybe that's the idea behind the next paper, which they also showed off. It's an Android tablet e-reader, and I'm confused on this one because they talk about a, quote, artistic combination of screen and paper, a paper-like visual experience in full color with no flicker and no harmful blue light. Essentially, they're talking about a display that isn't a traditional display, but it's also not e-ink. It's meant to be an Android tablet and an e-reader. At the end of all of that, I still have no idea what the display actually is. Right. What am I missing? What am I missing?
Yeah, this is the device that makes me wish CES was in person.
Yes.
Because it sounds so cool, but I can't tell how it works. And like, if it's full color and it's full Android, does it have any respectable refresh rate that makes it usable, or it's real confusing? Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. I just want to know more about, okay, well, if this isn't your standard, display, then what is it? It was a lot of jargon and not a whole lot of like, and this is how we can explain it so that you understand it, given that you can't be here. Turns out we won't have to wait that long. April 2021 is when it's expected to release for 349 euros. Cousin of Jean in the chat room mentioned the Yoda tab and the Yoda phone and everything. Like, yeah, that refresh rate, if it's e-ink, that can be a little brutal on an actual tablet device. So how responsive is the next paper? I'm really curious to see. I'll also mention, like, for Christmas, I ended up actually getting a Kindle Paperwhite. I've never had a Kindle before, but I asked for one for Christmas because I wanted a device that was nothing but reading. Like, I wanted a device that I couldn't find myself heading down a rabbit hole of, while I'm here, I'm going to check my Twitter feed or something. So there's something that I really enjoy about that because it only does that one thing. And when I'm in reading mode, I just read. And so something like this is kind of like, okay, well, it's cool that it does those extra things, but I kind of don't want it to. If it's for reading, I want it to just be a reading device.
I do want to share this one comment. So for those listening and watching the show, Burke is our TD behind the scenes, and we have our little behind the scenes chat. And Burke did say, and I think this is great, it's with creates mystery, which is not only poetic, but also totally true. The width does create mystery of this device. So good job, Burke. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Burke. Get one and let us know if the mystery is destroyed once you finally have one in hand, and let me see it so I can see the display. All right, we've got more hardware, obviously, to talk about from CES coming up next here. All right, Flo, we haven't had a watch on the show in a while, and you get to talk about it. Not a whole lot to talk about, to be honest.
I just don't even know, y'all. So Fossil is launching a new smartwatch running what else? Wear OS. That long forgotten Android-based version of a wearable software that no good excuse. Sorry.
Oh my goodness, you're kicking it while it's down.
It's just such a disappointment. And I'm sorry, but it's true. Another reason this is a disappointment is this Fossil launch, the Fossil Gen 5 LTE, which is launching this spring, has a measly Snapdragon Wear 3100, not the recently released 4100. What? What is happening? Are we just trying to get rid of old inventory at this point? This is the equivalent of Nordstrom Rack carrying like shoes from 3 generations ago. Like, that's fine at a clothing store, but this does not work for technology. 1 gig of RAM, 8 gig of storage, so you get a tiny little bit of a spec bump there. 1.3-inch display with a rotating crown, akin to that one that's on the very popular Galaxy Active 2nd Gen. There's also 2 shortcut buttons, and it's going to be $350.
Okay. All right. God, I'm so far out of the loop on Wear OS. I'm trying to find the point at which I stopped caring about Wear OS.
Because it's not going anywhere. Because it's stagnant.
It really doesn't seem like it is.
It's not capturing anybody. It's not on a Christmas wish list or even a birthday wish list. It's very down far the chain, and it's very frustrating because as an Android user, I'd love to have just absolute parity between my wearables and my ecosystem of choice. But I would also like to have a smartwatch that I don't have to charge every single day, and I still don't have to do that with the Galaxy Active 1st Gen. And by the way, that watch is on sale at Costco for like $100.
Oh wow!
Or maybe 150. I don't know, but I know a couple of folks who got it over the holiday because it was on sale at Costco, and I'm like, good choice.
Cheap, yeah.
It's a good choice.
Ben, as far as Wear OS is concerned, like, are you seeing any action in Wear OS that kind of gets you excited about the smartwatch platform by Google, or are you kind of in the same boat?
Right now, it kind of feels like everything's hinging on the Fitbit deal. I feel like that's why it feels especially stagnant the past few months. Is just they're just waiting on Fitbit so they can work with that and improve from there. But it's going to take time. I've been using a Fitbit for the past few months instead because it's definitely stagnant. I still like a lot of Wear OS. Like I like a lot of the ideas. I like a lot of the hardware, but it is a shame Fossil's not doing 4100 yet. I'm sure they will for the proper Gen 6 launch, which I guess would probably be this year. But yeah, right. Once the Fitbit deal goes through, I think we'll finally start seeing things change.
How?
But will it be too late by then? Because I got to tell you, again, I keep drawing from my personal experience, but that's all I have right now. I have another friend who just left the Fitbit ecosystem and joined the Samsung ecosystem. He asked me for my advice, and I said, it's going to be a while until we kind of see what Google and Fitbit are doing, so why bother waiting if you need something now?
Yeah, it does seem like it's going to be a while.
I don't know if it'll be too late. It's hard to tell. I think the biggest they're going to pull off of each other because, Google, I think Wear OS in terms of feeling like a modern platform is better than what Fitbit has, but Fitbit's health integrations and the app and all that feel more cohesive together.
Yeah.
Focused.
It's going to be a while, and that's unfortunate because, yes, it does mean more people are probably going to switch to Samsung or get used to Fitbit or just not wear a smartwatch. But in the end, it might come together as something good, and then just have to hope it catches on so Google won't pull the plug on it.
Because they're existing as two different worlds. Like Fitbit is very much... It's always been very fitness-centric. People really liked it because it was easy and approachable, and it tracked exactly what you needed. Wear OS had all these promises back when it was just Android Wear of the assistant and how that was all going to like move together. And so I feel like for that to really come together, it's going to take a while before we really... The most frustrating part of all this whole Fossil announcement, is just so that it's old hardware. I've seen better things done, and not just from Samsung and Apple, but like Garmin has really awesome fitness watches for any type of, lifestyle, and Polar has its own watches. It's like, what do you have to do here to just kind of catch up with what you see people are already doing really well? So that's why I get a little frustrated. Also, because I would like to have a little bragging rights with my smartwatch the way that an Apple Watch person does. That's a really great platform. There's a reason so many people use it. So
yeah, fair enough. Right. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a wearable that I more than wouldn't mind wearing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind wearing that versus like, yeah, I'm definitely putting that on my wrist and have a reason for it and not run into any of those speed bumps. But God, like I said, I kind of gave up on the wearable thing. And I feel like now I'm so far outside of it that it would take a whole lot. I'm not sure what it would take to pull me back in. Maybe it is, maybe it's kind of similar to my comments on the Kindle. Like I could see myself going down the Fitbit route, but that's just because it's it's a focused wearable for a very specific thing. And again, like I just don't know that I need a phone on my wrist anymore. There was a time where that was useful to me, and right now I don't feel like that's very useful to me. Having a focused thing like a Fitbit, maybe so.
Do you want to be my buddy? Do you still have that Samsung watch? Because you're still my only friend on Samsung Health.
I don't have the Samsung watch anymore. I'm sorry, but I'll still be your buddy, just not in that app. So. All right, Ron, you got the next one.
All right. Well, we all know that I do love the ridiculous phones. And if you're looking for a rugged, ridiculous phone, you might want to check out the Kyocera Duraforce Ultra 5G. That's a lot of action words used in that title. It was announced during CES 21. And this is a 5G ultra rugged smartphone. It's got a Snapdragon 765G with IPX6 and IPX8 dust and water resistance. It's got a sapphire shield display, and it can withstand extreme temperatures and environments. It can be washed and disinfected, and the camera has not just night vision, but super night vision and an underwater video mode. And unfortunately for you, extreme temperature and environment users, there's no release date yet, but start saving your money because you can get the Kyocera Duraforce Ultra 5G. If you are a mountain biker or a mountain climber or anything involving mountains, I think this is your phone. So
you won't even get 5G though. That's the hilarious part, is there's no 5G in the mountains.
Hysterical. Listen. The urban jungle can be just as rugged, where there is 5G. Jason, this reminds me of that old Casio rugged phone back 9 years ago. I wanted you to get when you were in the market for a new phone. Do you remember that phone that was like all rugged and like rubberized and whatever?
Was it yellow? Was it super yellow?
Yeah, it was yellow. I forgot the name of it, but anyway,
construction yellow.
I'm looking for it.
Ben, I would love to get your take on a phone of this magnitude. Do you think that there's even an audience for this type of phone?
I mean, they've been doing these for years. The Kyocera and other brands have been making these super rugged phones for years. This is just the latest version of it. It'll probably sell to some niche users, but I don't think most people are going to be remotely interested in this.
I've never seen one of these in the wild. Like and it's not like I'm in New York City, for Christ's sake. I mean, I was in New York City, but I was in New York City for Christ's sake. I was on the subway every day. I've never seen one of these actually held by a person.
Yeah, I can say the same. I've never seen one in real life.
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, I wonder if where you see these things are on like in construction zones, and you know what I mean, like in the hands of workers in really kind of volatile's the wrong word, but really kind of where durability is a requirement for a device. And maybe that's why we don't see these in the hands of people, because we're not hanging out with the people that work in construction zones, or I don't know, but I mean there's definitely a market for it. I'm just not part of that market. I don't need a durable phone. I'm happy destroying my phone when it drops on the ground. Not really happy, actually. It sucks whenever that happens, but it hasn't happened for a while, thankfully. So the Kyocera Duraforce, check it out if you need some extra durability. And then finally, at CES, the CES 2021 Innovation Awards. They were announced actually days before the event, but I thought it was kind of an interesting opportunity to name some devices that CES itself called out as innovative devices from the last year. All right, some of the smartphones that they called out, the Asus ROG Phone 3, they said it was simple yet futuristic game-centric design. The LG Wing, good to have that on there. The LG Velvet 5G, the TCL 10 5G UW, they said unusual camera design. I'm trying to remember on that one. TCL, yeah, I can't remember what the camera design was on that one specifically, why it was so unique, but it's there. The Z Flip 5G, the Note 20 5G, the A51 5G, which they said was a great value, and then finally the OnePlus 8 Pro. They said the leading mobile smartphone. Is that to say that they think that's the best of the year? That's interesting, although I suppose that was on some people's top phone of the year list. So, okay, I don't know how, like, this is like one of the first times that I really paid any attention to the Innovation Awards. So I don't know how much pull or energy is behind that. But we've certainly talked about a lot of these devices on the show in the past. So probably happy that they're being called out by CES. I think what's more interesting, though, are the 4 apps that they called out at the Innovation Awards.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Yes. So the first one feels like a keyboard that Ron, you would have brought into the arena.
I'm pretty
sure. The arena.
I'm pretty sure maybe you did. I think I did. Honestly, I remember that. So type-wise custom keyboard, and it's a honeycomb design keyboard. I'm almost 100% certain I brought this to the arena. So
all right, so you were a trendsetter then.
I was,
as far as that's concerned. You were ahead of CES.
Yeah. I remember when Ron brought this.
Okay, type-wise, I thought the name sounded familiar, but I couldn't remember. Yeah, honeycomb keyboard, large buttons. The keys are ordered differently than a standard QWERTY keyboard. So there's a little bit of getting used to it, but they say once you get used to it, you reduce typos 70 to 80%. So that's interesting. Sound ID, which is an app that allows you to dial in a personalized sound profile, and that's kind of based on the equipment that you're using. So if you're using a particular type of headphones, you would create that sound profile for those headphones, and that might be different than a different pair of headphones or whatever. I'm not sure how well that works. I've never tried that myself, but that sounds interesting. I think the winner was an app called Epsi, which is for epilepsy patients. It's an app that you can use to track seizures, medication reminders, data reports, that sort of stuff for your doctor and everything. And then finally, there's an app called Satisfier.
So I thought CES tried to distance themselves from the AVNs and from adult themed things, but here they are embracing the Satisfier. Jason, why don't you tell us about it?
The Satisfier, it's a sexual wellness app. It connects to devices. That's all I'm going to say. It has haptic control, long distance device syncing. You can use your imagination as far as what it is. And I got to say, the UI is actually pretty nice. It looks good. Looks like a good app. Never used it, but there you go.
Was it the long distance device syncing, like remote control of devices? It's a whole new 21st century right there, people. So.
It's an interesting time that we live in. So there you go.
NSYNC had a song about this. It was called Digital Digital Get Down.
Of course they did. And of course you know
that the reviews of this app aren't particularly, they really range. But recently folks have been complaining that the app doesn't work in the background.
Oh, so it's got to be in the foreground. That's such a bummer.
Listen, listen, you're on a video call. You're trying to find some intimacy with your long distance person you have not seen in a really long time because of a global pandemic. You want to be able. I'm just saying, you want to look at them.
I feel like the app should be. Oh, I see what you're saying. So I was going to say, if you're really focused. If you're really focused, the app should be in the foreground. But if you're also on a video chat on the same device, then you're screwed. Yeah. Not literally.
Right. Nice. It's not happening. So
yeah. So you're not screwed.
And I do have to say, I know that we've talked about CES trying to move away, but I feel like move away from, sexually tinged things, but I feel like this could go. This is a little more palatable.
Yeah, yes. Hey, there is nothing wrong with
It's not like the
health,
little,
so
like I did see a device a couple days ago that Gizmodo covered. So if you guys want to see, you can go to Gizmodo. That was like very visceral, where it was supposed to be placed and what it was for. And it was specifically for men and performance of the male genitalia. Versus this one feels a little more like equal. Like, we're in a pandemic. Things are rough. Why not use the built-in haptic feedback that you have in your phone?
I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to get a little hotter on the collar.
Yeah, I had a feeling that might happen.
I was trying to make a bigger point about how sometimes these things can be kind of sexist, but
true. Yeah, it's a good point. And it's true. But before we get ourselves into any trouble here, why don't we let you get yourself into trouble with your emails? And that's up next. I don't think you're going to be getting yourself into very much trouble, though, with the emails that we have here. Irfan wrote into AAA@twit.tv and said, Jason, your Christmas gift of a Commodore 64 made me go into my loft and pull out my original ZX Spectrum 48K, complete with light gun and Kempston joystick interface. Irfan says, I spent many hours playing Way of the Exploding Fist. That's a good game. I spent many hours playing that game too. And Commando. The memories. All the best for 2021. Good. It's fun going down memory lane when it comes to those old systems. I have had so much fun with that Commodore 64 re-release. I'm planning on reviewing it next week on Hands on Tech. So if you want to know my full thoughts on this, if you were ever a Commodore 64 nerd like I was back when I was a kid, then you should check out the review next week. Thank you for writing in, Irfan.
I like that you got something for Christmas and you're reviewing it.
Well, I mean, it's hard to get. Like I've tried to find where you can buy this, and it's really hard to locate. You can find the mini version, but not the full-size version very easily. The mini version it's a similar keyboard. I think it's a little bit smaller, but the keys don't actually do anything. You actually have to plug in an external keyboard in order to do anything. This is like a full replica of the Commodore 64. Ben, did you have any experience with the Commodore 64? What was your first computer system or game console? Where does it begin for you?
My first game console was a Nintendo DS, so
okay, all right,
that should tell you quite a bit.
Too much, in fact.
Actually, it was a DSi, so it was even later.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to say, because the DS came out, that was a magical year. We had the DS and the PSP came out at the same time. And I think that's when, the Wii came out after that. So it was a magical time in Nintendo land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, big time. That's right. So I don't know. Anyone who loves the Commodore 64 should definitely look into this if you can find one. And of course, I'm going to review it because, well, sometimes I'm just looking for something to review. But I'm so happy to be able to review that. Flo, you got the next email.
All right. So we are still talking about headphones. There's been kind of a big discussion about earbuds in particular. This one comes in from Brian. On the TWS headphones, I've gone through quite a few buds, from the early ones that charge individually and made me look like Frankenstein's monster to a fancier pair of Jabra Elites. The Jabra definitely has better sound, but you do get what you paid for. That being said, I now check Scarbeer for all TWS reviews. He has reviewed literally hundreds of them. By the way, TWS means true wireless stereo. Just right? Sound, true, whatever.
True wireless sound, yeah.
Yeah. He has reviewed literally hundreds of them, primarily in the sub 100 range. If they aren't listed there, they're probably a rebadge. The reviews are thorough and well organized. Definitely the go-to site for TWS buds. So that URL, just to spell it out for you folks, is Scarbir, SCARBIR.com. I'm going to open it right here.
Yeah,
my browser window.
It's really thorough.
It's very, very easy to navigate. There's an easy to see leaderboard, so you can just like go in there and it's a landing page to tell you what to get based on your price point. There's pictures. This is
best earbuds for under $25.
Wow. What is that?
Under $50, under $100. Best cheap AirPods alternatives.
The USB-C, the
yeah, totally. Right.
Yeah.
Ben Long. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good.
Wow.
Good point of
there
comparison.
are some. The MPOW Mbit S is listed here as a good choice for $25 and under. They have 5 stars. Wow. This is
nice. Yeah, it's a cool collection, and I mean 196 reviews. It looks like this guy's done on this site. So his name's Bart Brege. Anyways, he's very dedicated to this, obviously. So check out the site. I thought that was a really cool recommendation of a site I'd never seen, but it definitely looks like a really great resource if you're in the
great. A lot of this stuff, by the way, is sold on like Amazon and AliExpress, and that's definitely the kind of reviews you want to read because those sites are becoming more and more prevalent in our, that's just where we're going to buy things. There's an Amazon Basics version. There's a knockoff version of this and that. So I appreciate that. It's hard for big outlets to get to the smaller headphones. It takes a lot of time to sort of test those. So it's always nice to lift up a fan-made project that can benefit everyone. So thank you for that suggestion, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. All right, Ron, you have the honors.
I do. I have the honors of sharing with you, our listeners and viewers, the email of the week. I do love that every time. Thank you, Burke. This week's email of the week. Thank you.
I thought you were broken.
Nope. Comes from friend of the show and friend of TWiT. And Jason, you got to help me with his last name. I always screw it up. But Sam Abuelsamid.
Abuelsamid. Yep.
Abuelsamid. There it is. But Sam, I know Sam. He's great. It's fantastic. Sam writes in and says, I wanted to follow up on last week's discussion of lower cost true wireless earbuds. I use the Soundcore Liberty Neos, which are normally just $45 and frequently on sale for $30 to $35. Side note, I just looked at, and they are $29.99 on Amazon right now. So FYI.
Nice.
He says, Sam says, I find them quite comfortable and regularly wear them for 6 to 8 hours a day over the past 2 years. They sound quite good. Probably not audiophile, but my 55-year-old ears went through enough performances of AC/DC, The Who, and Rush, among many others in my younger days, that anything that good would be wasted on me. They do provide decent, clear bass, mid, and treble, and music sounds good to me. And it's important to note that the Soundcore Liberty Neo is by Anker. And so Sam goes on to say that the Ankers are also IPX7 waterproof. They don't have all the fancy features like Google Assistant, touch volume control, or automatic shutoff when I take them out, but that's fine. I can pause with a single tap, and double tap brings up Assistant from the phone. Surprisingly, the mic also sounds really good and clear, or so I'm told by people I talk to. And listen, Sam is a trustworthy voice. I completely trust them in this kind of assessment. And for $29.99 on Amazon, it's worth a shot. I mean that is
impulse buy.
I was gonna say that used to be 2 tickets to the movies. Now it's like a night of takeout Chinese. So I think you could easily eat the cost of $30 for these earbuds. So that's fantastic. Sam, thank you for writing in, and congratulations on getting the honor of being the email of the week.
Those are the Soundcore Liberty Neos. And Ben, like, have you had spent much time with some of these true wireless earbuds? I feel like so many of them are coming out now. Like I'm actually getting contacted by people, by different representatives saying, "Hey, we've got new true wireless." Like, oh God, I've reviewed so many at this point. I don't know. Do you have any favorites?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I have so many. I have these drawers up behind me. There's one for phones, and there's an entire one now for earbuds. Most of the ones I use are the more expensive ones. Lately, I've been using the Jabra Elite 85T and another pair I can't talk about yet.
Okay, fine. Okay.
I like the expensive ones are really good, but I've been impressed that the cheaper ones are getting so good. Yeah. Like the OnePlus Bud Z that came out over the summer, the $50. They're great. Yeah, I'm glad they're getting cheap because they need to be, because if they're going to replace regular earbuds, they can't be $150. But this just makes me want to get some more really cheap ones in to update my roundup.
Yeah, do some comparisons. Well, I'm curious about the 85Ts. Like I've used the Jabra Elite 65Ts, and then now, the 75Ts. I always end up, falling onto the 75Ts. I love the sound. They really improve the sound. What do you, excuse me, what do you find are different between that and the 85Ts now? What have they improved with the 85? Isn't it automatic noise cancellation? Is that right? Yeah,
so it has ANC. But actually the 75Ts also have that now too, through a software update.
Oh, shoot, I need to update them then. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's not as effective as the 85Ts, but they do have active noise cancellation now.
Oh, okay, cool.
But for me, it's one, I like that the case has wireless charging, but mainly it's the ear tip is, it's kind of like an oval shape now. And I just find it fits way better in my ear and doesn't have as much pressure on my in my ear. So I can enjoy how good they sound, which is about the same as the 75Ts, but I can wear them longer because they're more comfortable to wear. Like they're my go-to if I'm working on the elliptical or taking a walk or something like that. So they're really good. I like them a lot.
Super important. Comfort is a big component of these. You got to find the type of these because they totally run all across the gamut, all across the spectrum as far as comfort and wear is concerned. Ron, we already know that you don't care for anything in your ear holes, so you would probably.
And it really bugs me because I am getting tired of my Pixel Bud Generation 1s. They after it's been several years now, they barely hold a very good charge, and like honestly, the case the top is about to break off. Like I use them. And I would like a replacement, but I don't like things in my ear. So I don't know. Maybe those Samsung Jelly Beans will be the good solution for me. But I also don't need them though, because now that I've moved and I'm in my office in my house and I'm in the suburbs, I literally, it's been 3 days. I haven't left the house, so I don't commute anymore. So unless I'm on the train heading back to the city anytime soon, post-pandemic, I don't need them. So
you will want a pair of big cans with ridiculously good active noise cancellation, though, because working with the kiddos, as you know, is.
Oh, I know. I'm investing in some audio baffling and a solid door and things like that. Yeah.
Right on. Cool. Well, we have reached the end of this episode of All About Android CES 2021 edition. I'm sure there's going to be more because we're kind of like maybe near the halfway point, I suppose, of the digital version. I'm sure there will be more announcements. Definitely going to be the Samsung announcement that we're going to talk about in detail on next week's show. But Ben, Schoon, thank you so much for hopping on with us tonight. We really appreciate you taking the time and being patient through our technical difficulties earlier this evening. So you've given us almost a couple of hours of your life, and we really appreciate it. 9to5google.com for all of your work. If people want to follow you online, where can they find you?
Mainly on Twitter at NexusBen. And yeah, that's pretty much the only social I'm active on anymore.
Yeah, cool. And then I would ask you, what you're working on, but I know it's CES stuff. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Nothing at the moment.
All right.
I'll just leave it at that.
That was ominous. I was going to say, wow. All right. Now I'm curious. Yeah.
I know. How is it that you can say nothing and I'm super intrigued? You can say I've got nothing in the pipeline and I don't believe you. Ben, we really appreciate it. Thank you again. And Flo, what you working on?
Well,
or what you got? Maybe you're not working on anything. That's cool
I do
too.
want to share. I do want to share with you guys that I did something really fun a few weeks ago. I guested on a Lifetime movie recap podcast called Mother May I Sleep With Podcast, which is a play on the movie with Tori Spelling, Mother May I Sleep With Danger. So I did an episode I did a movie that involves Shannon Doherty attempting to take down a Microsoft-alike tech company. So if you're looking for something to do, it's a recap podcast. So the whole podcast is just us watching the movie, and it has like clips interlaced and everything. So you don't have to actually watch the movie. We will tell you everything that's going on, and we comment about it the whole time, and it's a lot of fun. We talk about all sorts of random things. We talked about tech. We talked about Rosie O'Donnell's vacation company. We talked a lot about 90210 and the vast knowledge that I have there. And it was just a lot of fun. So I wanted to point everyone to something very non-techie that I did that was very fun, which is Mother May I Sleep With Podcast. So,
Holy
and there's also
cow,
my website, florenceIon.com, which I have been actively updating. So, yes.
Excellent. I just looked up Mother May I Sleep With Podcast with Molly McAleer?
Molly McAleer. Yes.
McAleer.
She's
Those episodes are
of Hello Giggles. So,
okay.
Lots of internet friends to sort of.
Cool. And like I'm looking, it's a 3 hour and 40-minute podcast because it's the whole playthrough,
It is because we go through the whole. I've been listening to these very long podcasts lately because we've just been at home, and it's one of those. It's one of those that you can put on in the background and kind of like come in and out of.
That's great. I love it. Cool. Mother May I Sleep With Podcast. Right on, Flo. Thank you, and have a good rest of your CES week. I hope you enjoy the banal stream of technology that we're witnessing right now. Ron, what about you?
Before I talk about myself, Flo, have you read this book?
What is it? A very special 90210? Oh my goodness.
There you go. Yeah, I just got it from my sister, and I thought of you, Flo.
It's really good. I actually have been kicking myself in the butt for not writing this.
Yeah, there you go. Missed out on that.
This was my book idea, and so I'm working on a different idea since that one has been. But it's a good book. That is to say, it has really good essays in it about 90210. So
cool. Good to know. Anyway, beyond that, there is not much to talk about me. Go follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at RonXO. If you follow me on Instagram, it's that time of year as I am documenting discarded Christmas trees. As I said to someone about it recently, every Christmas tree tells a story. So if you like discarded Christmas trees, go follow me at RonXO. So there you go.
Definitely do that. Thank you, Victor, behind the scenes. Also, thank you, Burke, behind the scenes, for making this show possible each and every week. Couldn't do it without you guys. As for me, I'm just doing shows here on Twit. Check out Tech News Weekly, twit.tv/TNW. I'm sure we're definitely going to have an interview with Jason Heiner this Thursday from CNET about more CES stuff. So if you're interested in CES outside of the realm of Android, twit.tv/TNW. We'll be talking with Jason about some of the cool stuff that he's finding. It is January, which means we do a audience survey every January here at Twit. Twit.tv/survey21. And we ask that anybody who's interested in answering a few questions, we keep it fully anonymous. It only takes about 5 minutes, but it's just a way for us to better understand you, our audience, understand what you're liking, what you aren't liking. I mean, be honest, as honest and open as you would, as you want to be. And it's going to help us to create content that you like even more as we go through this next year. So twit.tv/survey21, and we really do appreciate it. Don't forget to wear a mask. Continue wearing a mask, please, and save some lives while you're at it. That's it for this week. We do the show every Tuesday evening. You can find everything that you need to know about All About Android at twit.tv/AAA. That's where you can go to subscribe, jump out to YouTube, find the times that we record, everything you need. All the episodes as well are there. twit.tv/AAA. And that is it for this week's episode. We'll see you next time on All About Android. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.